Okay, so welcome to today's Inner Circle topic call. We've got a good one for you today. We're going to talk about how to differentiate yourself so that you're the only logical choice for the seller at a listing presentation. How you can close the listing on the first visit without having to close the listings. How many of you have seen Glenn Ross? Or there's another famous movie with, oh, his name escapes me, Alec Baldwin, Always Be Closing, the ABCs, right? Always Be Closing. Who believes in ABCs, Always Be Closing? I'm not a big fan of Always Be Closing because people don't like to be closed. Rather, I have a different viewpoint. I just want to add value, demonstrate expertise, experience, skills, knowledge, compelling benefits, so that I don't have to close, so that they go, hey, what's the next step? Now, I do have closing sequences and gentle little nudges along the way to move them along so that they don't get stuck in the process. But we don't have to hard close like I was taught in the 90s. You know, anybody familiar with the Ben Franklin close? I see Greg nodding his head maybe. Robert, who's been in the business a while, Cortessa, you probably have heard of the Ben Franklin close. Somebody says, well, you know, we're going to think about it. And you've got all these closing techniques. Ben Franklin, well, while you're thinking about it, why don't I help you? We draw a line down a piece of paper, and on the left side, we list all the reasons why this is a good decision. And on the right side, we list all the reasons why this is a bad decision, why this doesn't make sense. And you help them list all the reasons for, and you don't help them list the reasons against. And you have more reasons for than against, and you go, well, then clearly we should be going ahead with this. But people don't like that shit. People don't like to be sold. People don't like to be handled. They don't want to be pressured. People don't like pressure. So what I learned early on, and it changed the trajectory of my career, is give people what they want, control the process, and you won't have any competition. So we're going to give you some examples today. Now, I do have a framework for buyer presentations and listing presentations. We're going to fast forward to the part today where we're at the listing presentation and we're talking about the benefits. And I want to give you some benefits that are drop dead benefits, meaning these benefits are not being articulated by your competition. And when they're not being articulated by your competition, you stand out, you're unique, you're different, and the chances of you winning go through the roof. I'm gonna start with Luke's question. You know, Luke was asking a question about a trustee, and he noticed that the property was owned in a trust. And I won't, you know, I want to make sure that nobody is skipping steps in the process. So I'm going to go through the steps in the process really quickly, and then we'll get to the benefits that I want to share with you that you can copy, use, rip off, and duplicate, and kick some big ass in at your next listing appointment. We want to do the opposite on a buyer appointment. We want to talk about the benefits of working with you as a buyer agent, which we'll do on future calls. And we have lots of training in the resource library. So the winning begins at, I'm getting some echo. The winning of the listing begins after the appointment is set and you qualify yourself. You qualify the appointment. So everybody has our buyer and seller scripts with the qualifying questions. If you don't, make a note to go find it, print it out, and review those qualifying questions. You don't need to memorize them, but you do want to go through them. You want to be familiar with them. And I'll even go so far to say some of the qualifying questions don't matter. And your brain's going to be like, Brian, I don't need this. I can get the deed online. I can get the tax bill online. Why would I ask the seller for this information over the phone? It makes no sense to me. Well, the reason we do that is to differentiate ourselves from everybody else and let them know we know what the hell we're doing. So if you'll follow the process, it'll flow smoothly. I've trained dozens and dozens of agents on my team who had no real estate experience whatsoever. And as I shared on an earlier call today, they were selling 5, 6, 7 homes a month their very first month in the business. Certainly I was providing them with leads, but they would call the leads, get the appointment, qualify the appointment, and actually go through my buyer and seller presentation just the way I'm teaching it today. So don't skip the qualifying questions. Everybody good with that? Okay, then when we get to the house, we want to find out whether or not we can go for it, go for the listing. Can we go for it in one step, or do we need to turn this into a 2-step process? Who can tell me quickly why we would turn a very valid listing appointment into a 2-step listing? Why would we not go for it? Anybody know? Anybody want to take a guess? We got a shy group today. Go ahead, Bill.
Not all decision makers are there.
Okay, Alan, all decision makers have to be there, right? So if I know that there's a husband and a wife and the husband's not there, or the wife's not there, I'm going to turn it into a 2-step process, because I don't want the husband to say, well, this is great, Brian, but I got to talk to my wife. How many of you think the husband's going to do as great a job as Brian did on presenting the benefits? No chance at all, right? The wife's going to go, well, I want to go with my friend, Susie, who I play tennis with. And the husband goes, okay, happy wife, happy life, and you lose the listing. So the qualifying questions set it up so that both decision makers are there, but sometimes that happens. So very good, Alan. Bill, what's another reason we wouldn't go for it?
For one reason or another, they're just not ready.
What do you mean by that? Because they're going to be ready when we're done with them. We're going to be ready when they're done with them.
That's true. Okay.
So
Timing and motivation.
The timing, yeah, there could be a lot of scenarios where they're
no,
early on the
because
process.
I've qualified the appointment. So if I'm there, this is a great thing. I'm going to turn you, ladies and gentlemen, into killers. Okay, how many of you know that the goal when we get a lead is to get appointment? The goal is to get an appointment. Now, where there's smoke, there's fire. So if I have an appointment, there's fire. The goal of the appointment is to get the listing. Everybody write that down. The goal is to get the listing. I'm going for it. Nothing to do with timing and motivation. I'm going to tell a story about a listing that I took recently. First one in 15 years. I mean, it'll be a good story, but because it conveys this. Do you know how many listings I've listed in my career because I handled timing and motivation issues? Like, the best time to write this down, the best time to sell is when you don't have to. Mr. Seller, nobody's holding a gun to your head. Are you kidding me? This is the best time for me to find a buyer when there's no pressure, when you don't even give a shit. So I want to walk away with that contract signed. So I want to change everybody's frame mindset into, if we're there and we can go for it, we're going to go for it. But there's one other reason why I wouldn't go for it. I'm going to ask it. Go ahead.
You're not the last agent in?
Who said that? David. Very good. Very good, David. 100% correct. If you're not the last agent, I don't want them to say, oh, well, this sounds great, David, but I got so-and-so coming in tomorrow. So in our intro and tour, and you should review, it won't take you a long time, familiarize yourself with my listing transcription. In fact, I'll put it in the chat here so that everybody has it. And while I'm doing that, okay, listing transcription. Don't read it right now, please, gang. So don't read it now. Just download it for later and just familiarize yourselves with it. So as I'm doing the tour of the house, it's not letting me drag it for some reason. As I'm doing the tour of the house, I'm going to go, how did it go with your other agents? Because in my qualifying questions, I asked them if they were meeting with anyone else. And I've set myself to be last. So if I go, how did it go with the other agents? And they say it went great. There's a couple of things here that I want to do. I want to clarify that I can go for it. Meaning, did the other agents go through all the market conditions, pricing, fees, etc.? Did they go through everything with you, or are they coming back? If they say they went through everything, then I can go for it. If they say, well, XYZ company is coming back, I'm going to turn it into a two-step process. Everybody good with that? Does that make sense? Because we want to set ourselves up to win. Okay, hang on. No. Let's see if I can put this in the chat right here. Yep, here it comes. Okay, Christmas in June, gang. Okay, so while that's, you can just download and read that later. Then, so the other thing that we're going to do in the intro and tour is I'm going to create doubt about the agents that they met with. And I just want to cover that really quickly. This is all part of building up a winning listing presentation. If the seller tells me they met with all the agents, they went over everything, and the meetings went great, is that something you want the sellers to think? Do you want the sellers to think that the meetings went great with your competition? No, I don't. I don't want them to think the meetings went good. So I'm going to ask them, what specifically was it that blew you away, that knocked your socks off, that impressed you about the other agents you've met with? And what you'll get is you'll get their eyes crossed, and they'll have to think, because they can't remember what they ate for breakfast, let alone what another agent told them 3 days ago. And now I'm using psychology to create doubt, because if they can't come up with something, then clearly the meeting wasn't that great. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm not disparaging the competition. I'm just getting clarity. Hey, what was it that you loved so much about them? What did they do? Did they do anything that really impressed you? Because I'm going to do some stuff. I'm going to show you some stuff that's really impressive. I'm going to knock your socks off. Are you ready? And have that level of confidence. Now, once I've created doubt, while I'm still doing the intro and tour, I'm going to say, hey, was there anything that they said that upset you, frustrated you, annoyed you, you didn't agree with? Yeah, they told me my house was only worth $500,000. They told me I needed to paint my daughter's bedroom from pink to neutral. They told me I need to take all my Hummels out of the china cabinet. They told me I need to rearrange the furniture and do staging. Well, how'd that make you feel? I hate it. I don't want to do that. How many of you know in today's market, you don't have to do anything. You blow on a listing and it's sold. So even if I agree that, yeah, it might be better to stage the property, my goal is to get the listing, and we want to do things in order and sequence. Anyone besides me ever said something that you regretted later because you lost the listing because you told them your opinion? And our opinion really doesn't matter because there's a million opinions. And then I'm wrong. I told them they needed to stage the house. They list it with somebody else and it sells in a day. I'm like, oh, there goes $20,000. Okay, so we want to familiarize yourself with this transcription. Today, we're going to dive into the benefits portion of the presentation, but we do not do price first. Okay, some of you are going on listing appointments. You're doing your intro and you sit down and you start talking about the market and you're showing them sales. Maybe you even do a CMA. We have training videos in the library. I don't do CMAs. I print recent sales because I don't want to tell the seller what their house is worth, because then I'm the enemy. How many of you think the seller thinks the house is worth more than you think it's worth? So why would we do that to ourselves? Why would we be the enemy? I can lead the seller to tell me what the house is worth, and that's far more powerful. That's a training for another day, and you can look at our trainings on pricing, where I get the seller to say what I want them to say. I want them to say my house is worth, they told me they thought it was worth $1 million. And then I'm at the appointment, we go through pricing later on, not first. Pricing comes after benefits. But when I get to pricing, I say, so based on these recent sales, where do you feel the top of the market is? And they go, well, based on this, it looks like the top of the market's 800. I agree. So that's how I do pricing, abbreviated. But the benefits. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up where they can't choose anyone else. I told you I'm going to tell you guys a story. I got a call from a friend a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Hey Brian, we're about to put the house on the market. Can you review the listing agreement? We're going through a divorce. I know you don't sell anymore." I'm like, "Hey pal, not only will I review it, can I come out and take a look at your house?" And I got the appointment. His wife interviewed 3 real estate agents. They interviewed 3 real estate agents. They had the listing agreement signed. They were about to send them to the seller. I intercepted this, went to their house, and closed them on these benefits that I'm about to share with you. They did not list the property with their friend. They listed their property with me, who hasn't been active in the business for years. So it got me thinking about how easy it is. And in today's market, like we had offers immediately, and I'm going to make $18,000. It's foolish for me to not go and help them. Not that I want to get back active in the market, but when it lands in your lap, it would be pretty foolish of me not to help these people. So I get to their house. I qualified the appointment as I instruct you to do. And I do the tour. I started to create doubt about the other agents. What was it that they shared with you that's so great? Was there anything they shared with you that upset you, annoyed you? And I got all that. And I was able to drop a hand grenade on those other agents without disparaging them. So then I manage their expectations. It sounds like this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, generally when I sit down with people like you who are thinking about selling their home, and I always say thinking because I don't want to put pressure on them. When they're thinking about selling their home, they want to know 3 things. They want to know, what will the house sell for? You and I don't control that. I brought some market data with me. We don't establish prices. Prices are impacted by a lot of variables: supply, demand, interest rates, local economic factors. So since you and I don't control price, we're going to cover that last, okay? So I let them know we're going to talk about price, because if I just start going into my benefits presentation, I've heard this. Hey, Brian, we're all set with that. We know you're good, but we just want to know what our house will sell for. So I have to manage their expectations. So that's what it sounds like. I go, people also want to know the second thing, when is the best time to sell? And if there was a better time of year to sell, what would that look like and how would that impact our plans? So I brought some data on timing with me, and we'll cover that when we do pricing, okay? The third thing sellers like to know, and I get asked this a lot as a coach, as a trainer, but even as an agent, you get asked this a lot. Is there anything I can do to maximize my home's value? And if there was anything that you could do to maximize your home's value, you'd want to know what it is, Kristen, right? You'd want to know what it is, Luke. You'd want to know what it is, Melody. You want to know what it is, Kratessa. And they go, yeah, I'd want to know. Well, there is one thing. There is one thing that determines whether you sell your house at the bottom of the market or you get all the money off the table. Do you have any idea what it is, Mrs. Seller? Go ahead, Kristen. You have a question?
The realtor.
Well, the seller's not going to say that. But the seller's going to go, I don't know. So when you ask the seller, do you know what that is? They're going to say, I don't know. Staging? Nope. Good guess. Pricing, the Caldwell banker told me price. I got to price it aggressively. Nope. Good guess, but not that, not that. Can I tell you what it is? So does everybody see how I've got them on the edge of the seat? It's like I'm controlling this process. I'm going to go, it's the agent that you select, Kristen. Can I tell you why? Because there's 40,000 agents in our state, and all of them have a license, but that's where the similarity ends. You see, price is a function of supply and demand, and anybody can sell your home in today's market. You could sell your home in today's market. But the reason I'm here is because you don't want to just sell your home. You want to get all the money off the table, right? So let me share with you how we increase the demand for your home to drive up activity, to increase the demand, to create bidding wars, to get people fighting over the property so that you get all the money off the table. Because there's a range, there's a low range and a high range. I imagine you want to sell up here, right? So can I share with you what those things are? If you guys and gals will learn that intro to benefits presentation, it's killer. How many of you found that valuable? Bill's writing fast and furiously. I can see it. Bobby Joe's like, holy smokes. Carrie Hyde's like, wow, that's money. 3,500 sales in my career proves that it's money. That's what you say. And you say it in your own words. So now, what are your benefits? Let me tell you what your benefits aren't. The shit that we're all saying. Well, I'm with an international organization, and we have 170,000 agents worldwide. And if anybody is looking for a home in Bedford, Massachusetts, we have agents in India and China and Egypt and Pakistan. And are you kidding me? Like Caldwell Banker, Remax, ERA, Century 21. That's the shit they taught me to say. We're part of a global network. What does that have to do with Bedford, Massachusetts? Nada. Don't say that crap. What sellers will resonate with is if you can show them what you do and then ask them, can you see how this will increase the demand on your home? And they say yes. You win the listing. So we want to start with our strongest benefit first. I'm going to ask you all as a homework assignment to have a minimum of five benefits. I use this example a lot. I call it ring the bell. So who's been to a carnival? You go, you're squirting the gun at the clown's mouth. The horse goes up and you win, and you get a key ring off the first shelf. You play the game a second time, you win, you get to pick a stuffed animal. You win it, you ring the bell 3 times, you get 3 times. You get to pick any stuffed animal off the top shelf. You ring the bell 3 times for a seller, you walk away with the listing. Has everybody got that? We got to ring the bell 3 times with our benefits. So I'm going to give you a bunch. I want you to think about, are they killer though? Are they irresistible? Is anybody else saying what you're saying? If the answer is yes, it's not a killer benefit. We have to say something that they've never heard articulated in their life. And note to self, much of what I do is very similar to what everybody else does. True or false, right? The property ultimately goes in the multiple listing service, sign goes up, we get lots of activity, it goes into showing time, agents show the property, and we have offers tomorrow. True or false? So how we articulate what we do really matters. So one thing that I explain, and you're going to put these in your own order, but my goal today was to give you a few that you're not using, that are like, oh my God, drop the mic. Here's the hand grenade. You just killed the listing. And I can show you the email that I sent to the seller that I intercepted. One second. So let me give you an example. So one of them, let's just list them out and then I'll show you. One of them is website syndication. That sounds pretty sexy, right? Website syndication. So I'm going to show you that's one of my benefits. Another one of my benefits is migration mapping. Are you all familiar with my migration mapping? Anybody not? Okay, that's going to be a good one. Another one is my database. How many of you have a CRM with hundreds and hundreds of names in it? Okay, so that's my buyer match program.
How did you pronounce the second one?
Migration mapping. Migration mapping.
Migration mapping. Okay.
Yep.
That's
Third
good.
one is buyer match. Fourth one, if I have a guaranteed sale program, I would use that. A fifth one is a team. We had a team. Even if you don't have buyers agents on your team, you can talk about team, mortgage, affiliate, title, let them know that you don't wear all the hats. So let me give you a couple that are really, really killer. And if you guys think you have something that's really good, I'd love to hear it, because 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. I don't purport to have all the answers, but I have enough to help you sell a shit ton of real estate. And then what I hope that you take away from this call is, oh my God, the awareness of, I can't believe I was telling the seller that, we have 150 agents at our ABC company. That's not irresistible when there's other companies with 150 agents. You've got to set yourself up so that you're unique, different, and compelling. So let me show you migration mapping. And I can drop this in the chat too, or you can make your own visual. But I say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we talk about the one thing, and that's the realtor that you select will determine the price that you receive. One of the, Rachel, you need to mute yourself. I got you. Okay. One of the things that we do to help increase the demand on your home is, should you decide to hire us. Now, I don't assume the close. I don't say when you hire us, because when you hire us is pressure. I say, should you decide to hire us? I want the seller to think they're in control, because when they think they're in the control, there's no pressure. So should you decide to hire us? And it's also an embedded command. When you say decide to hire us, write down, should you decide to hire us? And listen to how I say it. This is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, little bonus point. Bill, should you decide to hire us? Should you decide to hire us? Should you decide to hire us? The decide to hire us is an embedded command. Should you decide to hire us, Bill, one of the things that we will do is we will syndicate your property to over 200 different websites. Mr. Seller, where do buyers search for homes? Online. You're smart. So which website should we not be part of? We don't know where your buyer's coming from, so we leave no stone unturned. Can you see the importance of syndicating to all the different real estate websites, not just Zillow and not just Realtor.com, but all of them? Because we get traffic from all of these different sites. More traffic, more demand, more showings, Bill, more showings, more offers, better position to get the best price. Does that make sense, Mr. Seller? Am I speaking your language? Are you hearing where I'm coming from? When I did this to that seller that I intercepted, I didn't even have to say, did your other agents talk about website syndication? Which I would say if the wife didn't say this, she goes, wow, Terry never mentioned this. So I just jumped on that and put a dagger in it and said, well, if she was investing a significant amount of money to syndicate your property to all these sites, don't you think she would have mentioned it? Yeah, I would think so. So even though Kerry does the same thing, puts it in the MLS, and the MLS and your MLS dues spread it out to spiderweb to all these companies, Kerry never mentioned it. So now Brian's a hero. This is called preemptive marketing, where you make a big honking deal about what you do, and your competition didn't make a big deal about it. Right?
Brian,
Anybody? What's that?
is this exclusively through EX2?
No, no, Harry. Any realtor that lists a property and puts the property into the MLS system in your market syndicates that property listing to all these different sites.
Okay, thank you.
So everybody on the call can use this regardless of what affiliation you have. How many
Brian,
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. First off, I love that line you just said. If they were investing a significant amount of money to syndicate your listing, don't you think they would have mentioned it? That was awesome.
Okay, good, thanks.
Is this somewhere?
I'm gonna
on
drop
your-
it. I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
there may also be an opportunity through whatever association you're with that you can actually have it syndicated to more sites than most realtors actually have. I was able to do it through the Canadian Real Estate Association, so
Okay.
you know, you may actually be able to do more than other realtors do as well.
That's great. Let's see. This is not dragging and dropping for some reason. Hold on. File. So, give me a second. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, hang on. I got another one for you. Trying to share this. I'll put it in the Facebook group, gang, after the call so that I'm not spending all the time trying to get this dropped. For some reason, it won't drag into the chat. Okay, so that's one. So now I've won a key ring. I got to get a stuffed animal and I got to get the top shelf. I got to get the big prize on the top, which is walk away with the listing. So I need a few more. So let me give you another one that I love. Okay. I'm going to put this link in the chat so you guys don't have to try to copy it. The second thing that we do, Mr. Seller, that I'd like to share with you, and just so you know, Mr. Seller, I'm only covering some of the highlights. We do a lot more, but I want to give you the biggies. So your home is located in Ada County, Idaho. So we subscribe to a United States Census Bureau migration mapping service. Let me just pause for a second. How many of you think that sounds pretty sexy? Just so you know, how much does it cost me for my subscription to this migration mapping service? It's free. But we subscribe to a migration mapping service from the United States that gives us very relevant and pertinent real estate data, Mr. Seller, that allows me to find where the buyers for County, Idaho are coming from. I just have to click this inbound button. So I click on it. And it populates and it shows me where the hotspot is. So people are coming from, the majority of buyers for Ada County, Idaho are coming from Canyon County, Idaho. So a lot of agents will do, you'll see real estate ads on Facebook. But how powerful is it to put your listing in front of the buyers that are most probable to buy your home? Can you see where that would increase and intensify the demand on your property? We're going to put the bait right in front of the fish's mouth. Pretty cool, huh? So when I say pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool, huh? What do you say, Bill? What do you say, Harry? Pretty cool, huh? They go, yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So I'm sure you could say it this way. I'm sure the other agents you talked about went over this with you. No, they didn't mention it. Huh? Excuse me? And I lean into them. Come again? What? No, they didn't do this. So they just throw money. Do they do Facebook advertising? Man, they didn't even mention that. What? So when I am having this engagement, I learned this from Herb Cohen, the world's best negotiator. Write these words down. H-U-H, huh? W-H-A, what? H-M-M, huh? Like, be shocked. Are you kidding me? You could W-O-W. Wow. Did the other agent show you this? No, they didn't. Wow. After I did those two things, and I just want to show you the power. I can't remember. I've lost listings, but I can't remember the last time I did. I mean, I was coming along. How many of you have lost a listing this year? Lost more than one listing this year? How would you like to never lose a listing? This is the secret sauce. Or definitely lose less. We can't control everybody, but I can't remember. So I went in and I'll just show you this. Okay. So I sent Alexis and Catherine on May 7th. I've included my bio, a report, how we help you outline your home's value. Up here. I've attached a visual regarding some of the numerous sites we will syndicate your property to for online exposure. Additionally, I've included a screenshot of the migration mapping services so we can target buyers that are more likely to purchase a property in Merrimack. As you can see, they come from Middlesex County, and I sent them a screenshot of both of these. That was after the listing was signed. Don't send this in advance. Don't send this as a follow-up, because they could show your competition, right? If they have a sister, a brother, a cousin who's a realtor, how many of you, if you ever got your hands on the competition's collateral, you could debunk it? Anybody ever get a CM, seller goes, hey, yeah. And sometimes it's on the table. My competition CMA. I say to the seller, can I take a look at that? And I look at it. How many of you could find problems with that? Poke holes at it. So don't give people your stuff. Don't give people your stuff. Now, when I worked with, so here's the migration mapping that you can use. I'm gonna give you another bonus. I wasn't thinking of this today, but I just thought of it now. When I worked with Mike Reese and Jay Kinder at the National Associations of Expert Advisors, we created a white paper report that you can use as a leave behind that somebody can't find any fault with or criticize. So I'm going to drop it in here. And there's two places, I think, page 4 and page 13, where you change Brian Moses to Melody or Kristen or Harry. So I'm just going to put that in here. Hopefully I can drag that in. Yep. Let me show it to you. I think I was talking with Bill Eves about a leave behind piece. And if Bill, if it wasn't you, forgive me, it's not relevant who, but we were just having a conversation about, if you don't get the listing, do you leave anything behind?
Yeah.
I don't leave things behind because I go there with the intent to get the listing. In advance of the listing, you can send this free report. It's a 13-page white paper that you can brand with your own brand that says how to sell your home for more money. So Mike J and I wrote this copy in 2014. You guys are all welcome to use it. So on page 4, change your name. It's editable, so I can put in Harry Kimbrough. Right, so you can change your name. I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to drop it in the box in a second. And you can use this to just differentiate yourself. This is really a good report for the high C property too. And then the other place that you need to change your name is on page 12. So page 4 and page 12. All right, let's do that. You guys didn't realize it was Christmas in June today, did you?
Really?
Who's getting good value out of this call so that you're going to use it on listing presentations? Good.
This is the best one yet.
Ah, Bobby Joe, you're sweet. Okay, cool. So other things that I do is I'll show them, this is really bad. Like we've got some ballers on today's call, like superstar producers. Kristen Ruggiero, Dean Miller, Harry Kimbrough. I mean, you guys are doing big business. How many of you have your business, you expense your expenses, you expense Zillow for taxes, you expense Facebook ads, you expense meals and entertainment? How many of you, do you run your expenses through QuickBooks so that you can give them to the accountant at the end of the year? However you do it, I would take a expense report. Now this is huge no matter how little your organization is or how big you are. And if you're a small agent who does 5, 8 deals a year, your company that you're affiliated with has expenses. Some of your companies are publicly traded and the expenses are public and you can get an expense report. But here's where I'm going with this. The third benefit that I would do for the seller, I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we talk about price as a function of supply and demand. The more demand you get, the better price you'll receive. We talked about website syndication. We talked about migration mapping. I want to show you this. And I take a piece of paper. It's a 1-page report from my QuickBooks. And it says advertising. Now, at the height of my career, we were spending somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 a month on advertising. Billboards, radio, television, postcards, direct mail, websites, landing pages, squeeze pages, URLs. We'd add it all up and I'd show it to the seller and I'd go, this is my company's advertising expense monthly, not annually, monthly. We're spending more money a month than what I will earn on selling your house. The reason I'm able to do this is because we sell lots of real estate. So you benefit from the collective combined efforts of all of my marketing and the volumes of transactions that we do. And then I ask them, can you read to me, please, the bottom number of my monthly expense? And they go, $50,000? That's right, Mr. Seller. Now you can do that if it's $5,000. I know there are agents on here that are spending $5,000 on Zillow. Now, I'm not a fan of that. You know, I'm not a fan of that. And if we were here, I'd probably spank you. But if you're spending money on advertising, how many think it's beneficial to show the seller what you're doing? So you could go, hey, Mr. Seller, look at what I'm spending a month on advertising. $5,000 to Zillow, so that your home is a premium home on Zillow. Did the other agents show you what they spend monthly on marketing? How many of you would not like to compete against that? So checkmate. So that's another one that I use. The fourth one that I like is my buyer match service. So we were generating somewhere between, I don't know, a lot. I don't remember even anymore. 200, 300 leads a month, inquiries a month. And then we would pick and choose the ones that we wanted to work with. But those leads through a CVC file, I think it's called, go into my CRM. How many of you have a CRM where your leads go into your CRM? If you have more than 25 or 30 leads in your CRM, which all of you should, like from the last 12 months, I printed out, it looks like an old phone book. It's like an inch thick. And I'd show it to the seller. I'd have one printout. I'd pull it out of my briefcase and I'd go, do you know what this is? These are all the buyer inquiries that we've generated year to date. And if you thumb through it, you'll see that we have 1,262 buyer inquiries. Should you choose me as your agent, one of the things that we do is we will let all of these buyers know that your home is for sale. Would that be beneficial? So I use and I call this our buyer match program, Mr. Seller. Okay, did you all get some ideas here, takeaways that you can polish up your presentation? Now, this is very important. I want you to write this down. After you do 3 benefits, be prepared to do 5, but after you do 3, I want you to ask these 3 questions. Let's throw in a bonus one. First question, Mr. Seller, has this been helpful? What do you think the answer is going to be? Yeah, this has been helpful. So what you're doing is you're psychologically convincing them that you're superior than everybody else. Peter's chuckling. He gets it. He gets what I'm doing. Has this been helpful? Yeah, this has been great. Awesome. That's question number 1. Question number 2, and I don't say question number 2. I just telling you guys question number 2. So has this been helpful? Yes, it's been super helpful. Fantastic. That's what I'm here for. Are you starting to see that there's a lot more to getting your home sold at the top of the market and navigating a real estate transaction effectively than just picking any random agent? What are you showing me, Peter? Oh, you're recording it?
It's all the notes.
Okay, third one is, are you recognizing that all real estate agents aren't created equal?
Thank you.
You see, we all have a real estate license, and in New Hampshire, it takes 40 hours to get your license. but that's where the similarity ends. Can you tell, Mr. Seller, that I'm not like every other realtor? Yep. Okay, and then my last question is, are you comfortable with my skills and qualifications to represent you, or would you like to hear more? When done effectively, they go, we're totally comfortable. Now, as I was talking earlier today with a client, sometimes they go, we'd like to hear a little bit more. Then give them 2 more. Don't take it personally. They're into it. So give them a couple more. And then say, can you see how collectively what I've shared with you? And this is only the tip of the iceberg, Mr. Seller. I could stay here all day and tell you, how to build a watch, how we sell real estate. But hopefully you have an idea and you have the confidence in me to take care of this. Now, you might get somebody to say, well, we haven't talked about price yet. I know. I'm curious. Is that how you're going to choose your realtor? Based on price? Because if that's the case, how about 3 million? Did I win? Because I want them to understand I'm actually sarcastic and I say it just like that. Because their brain's like, come on, Brian. Well, what I want you to understand is asking the highest price doesn't get you the highest price. What gets you the highest price is demand. So of the agents that you've spoken with, who is most probable to increase your demand? When they say you are, we can go on to price. If they say, well, I don't know, well, what did your other agents talk about? And they go, I don't know. Well, if they didn't impress upon you, you think that it's a fair fight? Like, hey, let's do this. Why don't you guys sleep on it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? And when you decide who the most competent agent is, call me back and we can talk about price. Like, gang, I am not giving away my guidance on pricing if I didn't win the listing. I am not being used ever again. But generally, if done the way that I'm telling you, they go, oh my God, this has been great. This has been super helpful. I had no idea. I go, great, let's go on to price. And then we move on to price. And you can watch some training videos on how I price property and get the sellers to price the property where I want it to be priced. Then I do the net sheet. Now I'll wrap up with this because I'm running, Harry, the recordings are in the library. So yeah, you can just go to the library after this and watch it again.
Okay, cool.
So here's the goal. Win the listing at a full commission at the right price in that order. So worst case, I won the listing, I had to reduce my commission and I overpriced it, but I still won the listing. There are trainers out there that tell you to walk away from listings. Don't do that. I mean, within reason, don't do that. That's dumb. The goal is to get the listing. The second goal is to get it at the full commission. So I'd rather take a listing a little bit overpriced than have to cut my commission. So if my commission is an issue, I say, hey, we're talking about 1% here. You were going to go with someone else for 1% less. So on a $500,000 sales price, we're talking about $5,000. Let's do this. Let's list the house at 5,099, Nicole, and let me earn my fee. How's that sound? Hey, you guys got that? All right, so this was down and dirty. Hope you get some great insight. Peter, you had a quick question?
Yes, I have a quick question about setting the listing appointment. It was my second day door knocking, and I had a client who was ready to sell this September, which felt pretty lucky. It took me 37 doors to get one contact, and then I think in the next 20, I found 4 more contact. I got better. Um, One of them happened to want to list, and I called him back. He said he'd like to talk to his wife when he's available to set the appointment. I'd like to know what's the best way I'm gonna call him tonight. What's the best way to set the appointment and ask him
Okay.
correctly?
Use my seller script. You're gonna make 4 offers. You're gonna offer him a market evaluation. You're gonna offer him inexpensive tips to increase his home's value. You're gonna review things that he might be thinking of doing that he doesn't have to or shouldn't do that'll save him time and money. And you'll give him a detailed breakdown of all the associated expenses incurred in selling, should he happen to want to proceed and sell. When can I come by and take a look at the house? Okay, gang, I gotta run. I got my next appointment in the Zoom meeting. I'll see you all later. Have a great day. This was great.
Thanks, Brian.